Okay, so there are classics and then there are classics. And when it comes to uh, pioneering, absolute classic, uh, benchmark in the wonderful art of scaring the shit out of your audience, look no further than James Whale's masterpiece, Frankenstein, based on the Mary Shelley classic novel, a brilliant work of literature in its own right. This DVD set here is the Legacy Collection, but I'm only going to review the first Frankenstein movie. It could take a while to go through all of them. There's what, like five of them at least, jeez. Anyway, Frankenstein, the first one, the 1931 classic starring Boris Karloff as the creature, or as he's alternately billed, question mark. But yeah, this is a great movie. It's an absolute classic. And you got to talk about Mary Shelley's novel first, because it does take some liberties and departures, which you can understand definitely at the time. But the thing is, this movie's almost a century old. Getting there, getting there. But when you compare it to like the '90s version, the Kenneth Branagh version, which was more faithful to the novel. I mean, if you want a version of Frankenstein that kind of defines the story, it's going to be this movie. For one thing, it kind of cuts out a lot of the kind of bookends to the novel, or the kind of framing device, basically, where he's on the ship. But anyway, even like the monster talking. But the thing is, what it does when it creates the monster, when Dr. Frankenstein creates this monster, it's not as eloquent as it is in the novel. To its credit, though, because Boris Karloff, he does amazing work in kind of convincing you that this is this reanimated being from body parts of other dead human beings struggling to live. Like, he barely says two words in this movie. He talks a little bit more in the sequel, in Bride of Frankenstein, but here, everyone has their idea of Boris Karloff, even if you've never even seen the movie, of "Arr, grrr," so whatever. But he does an incredible performance in the movie, and it's quite an incredible career that Karloff the Uncanny, has had. Yeah, it's a very intricately made movie. Like the designs of like the graveyard backdrops and the laboratory in Frankenstein's castle. Also very well done. So impressive for a movie, like really taking kind of a page from those German impressionistic, what was it, the Cabinet of Dr. Caligari. It kind of took inspiration from that. Really these larger than life sets, which are really impressive to this day. And telling a fairly simple enough story of the monster trying to find his way into the world, and everyone else around him not liking so much what he sees. Very interesting concept behind it. I mean, basically, if you've read the novel, the point is driven home a lot on the nose, but basically you have Dr. Frankenstein character. He wants to play God. He even says, "Oh, this is what it's like to feel like God." But basically, the whole movie is about male inferiority complexes. They cannot create like women can create, so they have to make these obscenities of nature that completely turn on them and become horrible creatures. But are they really horrible creatures? Well, Frankenstein, he's not, you wouldn't want the Frankenstein monster at a party or anything like that, but you get some sympathy for the creature. You feel bad for him pretty much, and that's something that's difficult to get across, which is what I really liked about Karloff's portrayal. You see the sadness behind the monster, which you don't see in a lot of these movies from this era. At the same time, not taking a backseat to being scary, because he is still scary. Like when you first see, like the very first time you see the creature, it's a pretty frightening image. Like it kind of burns in your mind. And the way it's, all designed and lit. James, well, he does a great job of telling the story, even though he does stray from the novel. But yeah, I mean, I'm sure I could go into more detail about the movie, but it kind of speaks for itself. It's a brief but great movie. I think it's like only about an hour and 10 minutes or so, but this is something that you should watch. Even if, I can understand why some people may say, I don't want to watch black and white movies, whatever, I don't care. I'm not going to look down on people who say that, okay? But it's short, you can squeeze it into your schedule. You gotta watch this on Halloween. It's an absolute classic. Paved the way for so much in horror. Horror is the really benchmark genre of American filmmaking. It's just endured for so long, and this is one of kind of the examples of how it can really, really capture an entire generations and nations or what have you, capture their interest, because it's a movie about ideas. It's a movie about creepy scares, but it's it's a deeper movie than that. I'm talking in like a 5-minute video here. People have written essays on this movie and of the text. So what do you want me to do? It's a great movie. You got to pay its dues. You got to give it a look if you haven't. You owe it to yourself, basically. So that's pretty much my half-ass review of Frankenstein. James Whale's, Mary Shelley's classic tale of dead body parts becoming one big body part and killing people, feeling bad about it, getting hunted down by villagers with pitchforks. Back when they actually did have pitchforks and it wasn't a joke. But thanks for watching, and stay tuned for more reviews from me.